Welcome back to Red Tales. Today we meet a man whose wife wants an open relationship after she's caught cheating. Let's get started. My wife cheated on me and now wants to have an open relationship with him and be with me. I'm apologizing now for the length of this. First, a little history. My wife and I have known each other for 7 years now. We've had our ups and downs like any couple, but it has been a great rollercoaster ride. 3 years ago, both of us 23, I graduated from college, got a great job, we got married and we even bought a house. The next year we had our first child, our daughter. She brought so much joy and happiness into our lives and we were never better. That is until we had our second child, our boy, just last year. He'll be turning 1 in about a month. Our life, our family felt complete and we were so happy. Flashback to mid-April when I start noticing my wife acting strange. Seemingly on her phone a lot more than usual, being semi-secretive about it, staying up way later than normal. For a couple weeks I don't really think too much of it, until I notice that while on her phone she is typing. Typing a lot. Start of May and it's still going on. I've repeatedly asked her what she's doing. She shrugs me off, says nothing, but is even more protective of her phone. Fearing the worst, I look through our email address and in the deleted messages find something in regards to an account my wife has on ashleymadison.com. My heart sinks. I can't believe it is happening. I try and log into her account. We have also been open about passwords and she really only ever uses like 3 different ones, so before long I am logged in. At first I'm furious. I see a couple dozen messages between her and other guys. I see that in her profile it says she is looking for someone to make up for her lack of fun in the bedroom. As I look more at the messages, I see that she really isn't talking much to any of these people. Maybe 1 or 2 messages back and forth and that's it. I figure I'm early enough into this that instead of confronting her about this I'm just going to ramp it up in the bedroom. I should note it was also 2 days before Mother's Day that I found her account, and we had a lot of family stuff planned, so I didn't want to impact that. Our sex life had dwindled after we had our second child. From the pure exhaustion to the lack of intimacy, we had grown apart in this last year emotionally and physically. We had talked about it before, how we kind of felt like roommates more than partners, but we didn't really do much about it. We were having sex once every few weeks when things lined up, but we weren't really making all that much of an effort. So over the next couple of weeks our sex life was great. We both seemed to be making a more conscious effort and things were starting to look up. But all during this time she is still talking with someone on her phone, I can just tell, but every effort to get her to talk to me about it gets denied and shrugged off. Come to May 23rd. I have the day off work. She's a stay-at-home mum. A week or so earlier she mentioned that she was going to have lunch with a friend of hers that I know through her but am not close with at all. As the morning goes on and she's getting ready to go, at like 11:30 in the morning, my brain starts to put some things together. Just a few days before she bought a new bra, which she's needed, and panties. That morning when I tried to initiate sex she didn't want to for the first time in a while, and during my advance I notice she has cleaned herself up down there, which isn't unheard of for her, just kind of rare. Come time for her to leave and I don't say a word. I don't know if I was just so afraid of what could be happening that I made myself think everything was fine and let her go, I dunno. Around noon as I'm feeding the kids and looking through our finances for the month I realize she still hasn't bought any lunch even though she definitely should have by now. At this point I know something is up because unless it was like a family member she wouldn't accept lunch on a friend like that, just how she is. I text her telling her how the kids are and asking how she is and don't get a response. So I log back onto her Ashley Madison account just to see if there is anything new. Still really nothing in weeks from anyone. Then I realize the email address listed on her account isn't ours anymore, it's one I've never seen. I attempt to log into it and after some time, about an hour or so, I get in, and there are emails galore between her and a few guys but mainly with just one. I then see a blinking chat thing in the corner and click on it and it says Hotel such and such room 206, let me know when you are here. I freeze up with a mix between anger and sadness. I flip back a little bit and see that they have been regular chatting every day for a month and a half and even have multiple hour-long phone conversations once I've gone to bed. By now it is almost 2 p.m. so I assume the worst and that everything I have feared has happened already. I text her with "I fucking knew it" and wait for her to get home. I pack a bag and call a friend who will let me stay with him for the night. She gets home and denies before finally giving in to what I already knew. She tells me that if it means anything that nothing happened, that when she got there she couldn't go through with it and all there was talk. I'm in such a furious rage that I don't believe a word she is saying. I tell her that I am leaving for a bit because I just can't stand to be around her. She ends up convincing me to stay at least until the kids are in bed, so I don't leave in front of them. I reluctantly agree and end up never leaving that night. Which brings us to the current day. Over the past week and a half we have talked a lot in actually a fairly calm and collective adult manner. She's explained that when she first got on the website it was due to our lack of intimacy. She was seeing what was out there but didn't even know if she could/would act on it. Then she met him and they had a connection that she was never expecting. He is also a married man, I should note 7 years older than us. She has always kind of had a thing for older men. Early on in our relationship she continued to talk with her previous partner who was an older man for quite some time before I found out, but we worked through it, unhappy in his own relationship. An almost complete lack of sex or intimacy, but a love for his wife and family and 2 kids drove him to what he was doing. Neither of them was expecting to find what they did, but they are now in the position that they really like each other, borderline love. My wife's basic argument over the past week or so is that she wants both of us in her life and can't really see it any other way. She has said her views on marriage have evolved over the past few months and she sees nothing wrong with liking more than one person at a time. I do not hate her for feeling like this. And while I can understand how this could have happened, I just don't feel the same way as her. I'm not a religious person, but I feel like the sanctity of marriage is a sacred thing. Neither of us wants a divorce and we still love each other very much. But she is set in her ways and what she wants in me and mine. Over the past week I have talked about compromise. Like talking to him when I'm not around and coming up with some ground rules to this situation. I've tried to be okay with them talking this past week, but it's like pouring salt in a wound. How can I be okay with and almost encourage her to be with another man that she cheated on me with? Part of me feels like me being okay with it would be negating the fact that she cheated, and that she's basically getting away with it. After a week of talking, we've both just gotten frustrated. We keep going in circles and getting nowhere. One thing that is really affecting me is that I have no one to really talk to about it. She obviously has him and has been forward with me and told me that they have talked about everything that me and her have talked about. All my closest friends are also hers, so neither of us wants me to get them involved. I've suggested that we go to marriage counseling, which she is heavily against. She's afraid that the therapist will immediately side with me and make her feel like a bad person, and I think she might be finally warming up to it a little bit. I would love some input/advice or just general discussion about my situation, as I have just had myself to talk through this all the past few weeks. Also, being such a complicated scenario, I'm sure I've missed some details here and there, so feel free to ask questions. TL, Gia. My wife cheated on me because our sex life was in the pits, found an emotional and sexually attachment that she wasn't looking for, and wants me to be okay with her pursuing it, even though I am heavily against it. Of course, OP's wife doesn't want their friends or a therapist involved. The last thing she wants is someone to come and make OP realize how badly he's being treated and manipulated. If she wasn't getting her needs met, she could have spoken to him and worked to fix things. Instead, she sits next to him while texting her affair partner. She'd been caught cheating before and specifically went out looking to do it again. She's shown to be a serial cheater. She has no remorse, not for hurting her husband and possibly destroying her family, but also not for her affair partner's family. She will lie to cover up acts she knows are wrong and will justify it to herself the entire time. Hopefully, OP is able to out of his toxic marriage, or he will find himself enduring a lot of pain in their open marriage. That's all for today. Thanks for joining us on Red Tales. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and think about subscribing if you haven't already. Have a wonderful day.